All right, for the third part of our character classes, this is a crazy long stream, folks. Oh, I got to read a super chat from the last one. We'll get to that in just a second here. We're going to talk about the cleric and the cleric subclasses. And we're going to do it in the same way that we've been doing the first two, the fighter and the magician. We're going to read through it. I'm going to read the powers or whatever you want to call them one time. If another subclass already has that power as well, we'll have read it once and you should already be exposed to it. And we're just going to read the new ones. So got to get through this. And no, I'm not desperate. I'm not going to skip things. It's just one of those things that that we've got to get through. And I appreciate everybody hanging out on the live stream side of that and talking about the live stream side. Those are the core values of tabletop role-playing games. That is the charity we support. Please, please, please donate to our charity. That is our streaming schedule. Video games with Heathen Dog on Thursdays and Saturdays, and tabletop role-playing games on YouTube/Rumble side on Sundays and Fridays. And of course, our live stream podcast, not a concise step-by-step tutorial, which is why we're doing a read-through. Like, subscribe, share. And here we go again. And I have a super chat. Where'd it go? Boom. What's he say here? Game with ADHD. Thank you for the $4.99, sir. Use this to get a monster. Keep going. You got this. I appreciate that. Thank you. I am going to keep going. So I appreciate it. Crafty says we actually sold a car today. It's Easter. How are you selling cars in Easter? Why are people buying cars in Easter? But thank you, Game with ADHD. I really do appreciate that. Okay. Whew. Here we are with Hyperborea again. And now we are going to kick into the cleric. And so let's start here. 4 principal classes. I said it in the other ones. I'll say it again. If you're just starting out, start with just these 4. It's not that you have to. It's not that, oh my God, you can't add the other ones. It's just start with these 4. Keep life a little simple. And then after a character dies or after you have a little bit more experience, then throw in the subclasses. Not, again, you don't have to do it that way. That is just my suggestion. So what is a cleric? It's an armed and armored ecclesiastical sorcerer who channels the divine. You know, it's a warrior priest, right? And then now we go to page 25, which we'll look at the cleric. Oh no, that's, my God. I wrote the pages down and I didn't even get it right. Which we'll look at 24, the cleric subclasses. So after the cleric, we're going to talk about the druid, the monk, the priest, the rune graver, and the shaman. Those are the different subclasses. And we will see what is involved with each of those. All right. And now we move on to page 32 for the basic cleric. And once again, this doesn't want to go. There we go. Look at that. A cleric with an axe, already throwing off expectations, right? Or subverting expectations. The cleric serves as a conduit between the temporal and the spiritual worlds. The staunch warrior and ecclesiastical sorcerer might be esteemed as a fighting chaplain or holy knight, feared as an inquisitor and a zealot, or condemned as a renegade and heretic. Typically, the cleric learns the mystical power of sorcery through rites and service, spiritual endowment, sacred mysteries unearthed. This reverent martial sorcerer becomes an oath-bound supplicant to eldritch forces, otherworldly beings, and deific powers. Patrons may include ancestral or animistic spirits, demons, or alien entities scarcely understood by even the wisest of sages. Remember, the Cthulhu mythos exists here. All right. So, yeah, you might not fully understand who you're getting your powers from or why you're getting your powers. But you know what? You got them, and it's time to go forth in the name of whatever god or demon or entity you serve, right? Prime requisite. Again, these core classes, these primary classes, all have the easiest requirements. Only you need a wisdom of 9. That is it. That is an average wisdom. If you consider 3 to 18, 10 is average, or 9 to 12 is average, you're on the low end of that average. Right? 10 and a half. So wisdom, if you have a 16 wisdom or higher, you get a 10% bonus to your XP. D8 hit die. All right, so much better than the wizard. Or magician, sorry, I should say magician. Much better than the magician. Not quite as good as the warrior, but or the fighter. But hey, you can still tough out most fights. Favored weapons. There's a lot of them here. I'm not going to read them all. It's not all of them. You do have a limit, but some interesting ones like lasso. You can have a sword. It's okay. Saving throw modifiers, death and sorcery. Well, that makes sense. So scroll use. Oh no, that was in the last video. I have to talk about it. To decipher and invoke scrolls with the spells from the Cleric spell list. Now, some of the other ones will have a different spell list. Clerics get we'll call it the Cleric spell list because that's what it's called, and it is the one with the most spells in it. Unless a scroll was created by a thaumaturgical sorcerer, so basically, unless it was created by, so some spells have crossovers, right? So if you're reading a Cleric scroll, you're good. If you're reading a magician scroll, sorry, can't do it. Scroll writing. To scribe a known spell onto a scroll, creating a single-use magical device at the cost of 500 gold pieces plus 100 gold pieces per spell level. So if you're trying to make a scroll of a third level spell, that would be 800 gold pieces, 500 plus 300. Materials vary. Some clerics engrave thin tablets of stone, whereas others use vellum or parchment, a fine quill, and sorcerer's ink such as sepia. This involved process requires 1 week per spell level. So again, that third level spell will take you 3 weeks. And must be completed on consecrated ground such as a shrine, fane, or temple. You're not just randomly doing this while you're traveling through the wilderness. Druid might be an exception to that. I said might be. Turn undead. Now, turn undead and control undead is something we've talked about a couple of times, like with the necromancer and so forth, and now we finally get to see what it's about. But before we do that, let's take a look at the chart. 2,000 experience points for the cleric. Okay, interesting. That's low. That's like the fighter. So far, we haven't seen any that are under 2,000. I bet you we will when we get to the thief, but we'll find that out when we get there. 2,000. So just like the fighter, levels fairly quickly, unlike the berserker or the warlock or some of those other ones. Okay. Actually, I'm going to start here, and I'll go to turn undead in a moment. Let's finish up with sorcery because we already talked about scroll writing, scroll use. Let's get into the spells. Clerics memorize and cast spells, but they do not maintain spell books. Rather, they might bear the scriptures of their faith in prayer books. I really like it when a character or a player writes out like a little mini catechism type thing. I give bonus experience points for that, and actually writes the prayer as 1 to 3 different invocations. I don't demand it. I like it. Especially in a polytheistic world, I like to see how they invoke the different gods. In a more of a monotheistic, I worship one, whether it's polytheism overall or not. If you focus on one god, then I like to see how you invoke those prayers. I do. That's just like I said. Like to see it. I don't demand it. The number and levels of spells cast per day are charted above, and that's right here. So, and wisdom will affect this, and I think I'll talk about that in a moment. But at first, at first level, you get 1 spell. Hopefully, you can see that highlighted on the screen. At 6th level, you get 3 first level spells, 2 second level spells, and 2 third level spells. Again, bumped up by, that's per day, by the way, bumped up by your wisdom. So you can cast 3 first level spells per day, 3 second level spells per day, 2 third level spells per day, all the way down to here. Now remember, you're also a fairly decent fighter. Are you at the level of a fighter? Well, sort of, but no. At first level, you are. You have the same fighting ability as a fighter. You just don't necessarily have the same maximum hit points as the fighter. But you both start fighting ability 1. If you watch the fighter video and then watch the magician video, you will know the magician started at 0. That means the magician has to roll a 20 to hit armor class 0. You only need to have to roll a 19 to hit armor class 0. But it stays 1 at level 2. Then it bumps up. Then it bumps up again, stays. As you can see, you gain 2 every 3 levels. So down here, the fighter has a 12. The magician has, is it a 6, I think it is? Or is it a 6? Well, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. Oh, 5. So you're definitely better than the magician, but not as good as the fighter. But that's fine, because you can still wear decent armor. You still have a decent amount of hit points. You can turn undead. You can cast healing spells and other spells on top of that. And these are 1 through 12. They gain, can't do it that way. Casting ability and turning ability are 1 per level. No stops, no skips. All good. So, and saving throws look the same as everybody else. Travis, the number in the chart above, which we showed, the clerics of high wisdom gain bonus spells per day, which we talked about last week. For example, 4th level cleric with a 13 wisdom can cast 3 level 1 spells and 2 level 2 spells per day. So, because I don't think, what level is that? a 4th level cleric, level 4. Oh, that would, because that person gets a bonus of 1 first level spell, but doesn't get any 2nd level spell bonus. Or is it 1 of each? Hold on. Can cast 3 level 1, 2 level 2s. Yeah. So that person with the 13 intelligence, I just didn't want to go look at the chart, would have a bonus first level spell. Unfortunately, wisdom isn't high enough to get a bonus 2nd level spell. That's the point of it. Clerics begin their careers with knowledge of 3 level 1 spells. And I really like this. A lot of times D&D is like, have access to every single spell in the book. Just figure out which one you want to pray for in the morning. No. You get 3 spells. Basically, you have 3 catechism items, 3 Bible passages, whatever you want to call it, 3 holy things that you've been trained in, 3 creeds, like the Nicene Creed or whatever. You have 3 things that you can do, that you are part of, that you can invoke and turn into a miracle of sorts. Sacred mysteries revealed through initiation into a sector cult devoted to an otherworldly power, deific being, ethos. I'm sorry, that's beginning their powers. 3 spells, secrets, mysteries revealed through, there you go, the initiation of the sect. That's what it is. Clerics develop 3 new spells at each level gain, but they must be of castable levels. So if we go up here and I bump up, so from here I have 3 spells, right? Now I'll have 6 spells because I'm only going to get first level spells, right? At this point here, you get to choose. Well, how do I want to do? I want 3 2nd level spells? Do I want 2 2nd level spells and add another to first? So I have 2 and 7. That's up to you. You get 3 spells when you gain level. These spells are drawn from the cleric spell list, and of course the other spell list for the type of cleric subclasses that they are. Level gain, but they must be castable levels. Typically, they are acquired via spiritual revelation, otherworldly favor, and the piercing together abstract theologies. Such spells are learnt automatically with no need of qualification rolls. So you're writing in your little catechism, and all of a sudden you have an ecumenical or an epiphany. I was going to say an ecumenical breakthrough, but we'll say you have an epiphany. Lord came down and you saw some more holiness, and you can do some other things. Okay. Now, clerics get the ability to turn undead. Of course, evil clerics will have command undead, but this is turn undead. All clerics can exert control over undead and some demonic beings. That's something that I think has been lost in D&D to some degree. A lot of people forget that demonic beings can be turned, causing them to flee and or cower. Evil clerics can opt instead to compel submission and service of these foul creatures. In either case, the cleric must do the following. Stand before the undead within 30 feet. That in and of itself is scary. That's why you have to have faith. You have the conviction of your faith, because those things are ready to chew your eyeballs out right now, and you're standing before them. No, the power of Christ compels you. The power of Cthulhu compels you. Whatever. Right? And you must speak boldly a commandment whilst displaying the holy symbol. The referee must cross-reference the cleric's turning ability with the undead type to determine the cleric's chance of success. The referee may ask the player to roll a d12 to determine the outcome. And we'll get to that. Or the result may be fixed. The results are as follow. D12 score equal to or less than the number indicated. T means turn. So when we look at the chart, T means turn. NT means not turn. And that's if you roll greater than the number indicated. So that is the target. So if the target number says 6, you roll 6 or less, it's turned. Okay? Target number says 6 and you roll a 7 or higher, it is not turned. But then there's also destroyed and ultimate destruction. And I don't really understand the difference, because it says our exercise destroyed, crumbling to dust. And this one says the same thing, exercise destroyed, crumbling to dust. So I don't know what the difference is. But, clerics of above average charisma are more commanding, hence their chance in 12 is improved by 1. So if you have a 4 in 12 chance, it's now a 5 in 12 chance. Well, look at that. Frequency of turning undead. This ability can be used a number of times per day equal to the character's turning ability. So we come up here at level 1, it's just equal to your level. So at 6th level, you have 6 turns, which I kind of like, because you can do it 6 at 1 pop, or you can do 1 now and save them for later. Like, I will turn you, I will turn you, I will turn you. Oh, wait, I just lied. Well, sort of lied. However, the cleric can make but 1 attempt per encounter unless a second wave of undead arrive. And here's the turning chart. You roll a d12, and it's based on type. So your turning ability is down here. If you have turning, it's at 12th level, you ultimately destroy levels. These are usually skeletons. These are usually zombies. I don't know, gas, right? I don't know what they all are. Up here, you've got your liches and vampires. Okay, so you automatically turn things like wraiths and specters and so forth. You destroy your. I think mummies are actually pretty high as well, so I don't know what's down here. Anyway, it will tell you in the creature's description what type it is. I did like that second edition AD&D actually gave examples of each type, but that's fine. Each type, if you come across a zombie, that's probably type 1 or 2, and I hate that I can't highlight columns, and you're level 3, you automatically turn rank 1s. Okay? But if you roll a 12, you roll that D12, where's my D12? Let's see what I rolled. Let's see if I turn category 2. I rolled a 6, so I did. I rolled a 10 or less. Actually, would have got category 3 also. Would not have got category 4, even with a charisma bonus. All right, how to turn multiple undead types. If multiple kinds of undead are met in single encounter, only one D12 roll is required. The same result is applied to each undead type. Those of the lowest undead type are affected first, and that is the same as D&D, at least second edition D&D. Okay. Evil command of undead. A cleric of evil alignment may opt to exercise control over the undead on a successful turn undead check. Such undead remain under the sorcerer's sway unless turned or commanded by another sorcerer of equal or greater turning ability. Up to 2 hit dice of undead per turning ability can be controlled. If a neutral cleric attempts to command undead, then he or she will have turned to a darker path, submitting to evil and no longer of neutral alignment. Really? That's lame. That's okay. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't like it. I get the idea of it not being natural or something, but neutral should have access to both turning and commanding, depending on what tool is needed at that time. But I'm not here to counter the game. I'm here to tell you what's in the game. So, I would probably do something more like the old first edition Dragonlance morale ticker. But again, your mileage may vary on that. Look at those creepy crawlies. New weapon skill, like most of the classes at 4, 8, 12. Remember, let me say this again so I don't have to say it in the future, even though I probably will. The cleric has access to all. These aren't like AD&D where you pick weapon proficiencies like, okay, I'm going to pick lasso and spear. No. You can use all of these up front. Now, if you want anything that's not on this list, well, you'll get one at level, where is it? You'll get one at level 4, one at level 8, one at level 12. Enlist henchmen. 6th level cleric may seek or be sought out by one or more henchmen, classed individuals, typically of a similar class, race, culture, who become loyal followers. So probably people of the faith who want to defend the faith more. Lordship at 9th level cleric who builds or assumes controls of a shrine or a temple becomes a lord and is eligible to track followers and troops. You are now a bishop of your realm, cardinal of your ministry. And you can choose to, instead of spending money, but to use a starting pack. And the starting pack for the, if you don't want to spend the money, you just want to quickly jump into play, studded armor, dagger, warhammer, backpack, bandages, silver, holy symbol, holy water, soft leather pouch, iron rations for 1 week, small sack, tinderbox, torches, 3 of them, wineskin, which is full, probably of water, or maybe sacramental wine, I don't know, writing stick, and 1d4 plus 1 gold pieces. And here's the combat. We already talked about the combat matrix, but at level 1, because you already have fighting ability 1, fighting ability 0 would mean that you had a 20, but no, you have fighting ability 1, so you need a 19 to hit armor class 0. You need a 12 to hit armor class 7. And when you go up in level, well, that will adjust over. This bottom will move to the right. So that 12 will become an 11 to hit armor class 7. And a level higher become 10 to hit armor class 7. Got it. Yes, Jim Jones of your very own island. There you go. All right, now let's look at the subclasses of, and we'll start with the druid. So let's go up here and hit page 77. Druids are spiritual and oftentimes temporal leaders of tribes and communities, both settled and nomadic, of typically Celtish and Pictish ancestry. They're sorceress priests who obtain their abilities from ancestral, animistic, and elemental spirits. Druids also draw strength from celestial objects such as sun, moon, stars, Saturn, and Saturn's moons. Remember, this game is a far future, like 4 billion years from now, Earth, where a sun is a red giant and this landmass is floating around Saturn. Okay, remember that. Some druids are said to derive their sorcerer's gifts from neutrality itself. A druid typically wears a helm capped with the head of a bear, tiger, or wolf, and affixed with the antlers of a stag. The motion of the heavens is of portentous concern to the druids, so they care about things like astrology and positions, Mercury ascendant, and all that stuff. Well, Mercury doesn't exist anymore, but you know what I'm saying. Whose hierarchic orders assemble during the most significant astronomical phenomena. Wise and philosophical druids often strike out on their own, but to their own order they must answer when the call to assemble is issued. All right, attribute requirements. Wisdom 9, Charisma 12. Again, interesting on that charisma part, but it might be, for the purpose of getting followers or to entice animals or something. I'm not sure. But if you have both wisdom and charisma at 16 or higher, you get a 10% XP bonus. Typical D8 hit die type alignment is neutral or ambivalent, unaligned, whatever. Armor allowed light or medium. Shields allowed any. I'm surprised it doesn't say no metal or something like that. Oh my God, Charlotte! Bad joke. I read that. Oh, saving throws. Death +2, sorcery +2. Again, like your clerics. All right, druidic tongue. Secret language of the druids. It has its own runic alphabet. To describe it, however, is forbidden to all save the highest ranking druids, 9th level or greater. Don't get caught. Fire and heat affinity. Oh, that's interesting. +2 bonus to saving throws. Yes, it is in my head now. Thanks. +2 bonus to saving throws versus fire and heat related effects, cumulative with fire resistance spell. That's an interesting one to me. But I guess I don't know. I don't know if I fully understand that, but I'm not going to argue it because they tap into all elements, don't they? Whatever. Natural identifications. A spiritual connection with nature provides recognition of potable water. That's important when you're out surviving. The general classification of plant types: edible, poisonous, curative. And the general classification of animal types: carnivorous, herbivorous, diurnal, nocturnal, aggressive, docile, natural, unnatural. Okay, I like that. Scroll use, we've already talked about that, except in this case, it'll be for this druid spell list. Scroll writing is the same, except for your consecrated area is a grove or a henge. Sorcery, again, they write their stuff on clay tablets, oak bark parchment, and so forth, bones, whatever. And druid spell list. And spell list we'll see is pretty much the same as clerics up here. Actually, I shouldn't say pretty much the same. Is the same as cleric up here. Fighting ability, casting ability, all match the cleric. Even XP matches the cleric. Traverse overgrowth. You can negotiate natural overgrowth. Briars, brush, tangles, thorns, vines at normal movement rate without leaving a discernible trail if you so desire. So not only are you not slowed down, you don't have to leave a trace. And that's from the beginning. It doesn't say a level there. New weapon skill at 4th, 8th, and 12th. Charm immunity at 5th level. So you have to wait till 5th level for this. You're immune to the supernatural charms of magical beasts that encircle and beguile. Think of this as, it says Greater Gorgon, Harpy. There you go. Satyrs, Man of Lang, things, sirens. This immunity does not apply to the charm spell of sorcerers, though. We're talking the natural abilities that encircle. Shape change. At level 5, the power to assume the form of a normal animal of small size, once per day. Choices include amphibians, birds, fishes, mammals. I like the fact that fishes are added. It's always one thing that drove me crazy about D&D. Mammals and reptiles. Frog or salamander, crow or eagle, carp or trout, raccoon or squirrel, snake or turtle, as examples. At 7th level, a medium animal. Now we got bears and boars and deers and big dogs and hyenas, mountain lions, snakes, wolves. And druid assumes creatures' armor class, movement, and tactile abilities except venom. Aww. Disease transmission, other attacks. Sorry, you do not get to have snake venom. However, personal hit point maximum saving throws are retained. On shape change, 50% of any prior hit point loss is regained. It's always kind of been a trope of the druids in Dungeons and Dragons and their like games. All clothing, armor, weapons, and items are transformed. So this isn't like, what is it, the Beastmaster from the Fighters, where you turn the Incredible Hulk and you rip all your stuff? No, this is transformed with you. Magic items, enchantments cannot be accessed during the shape change period, though the powers of a magic ring can be utilized if worn before transformation. Shape change lasts indefinitely. Notice said druid who maintains animal form for more than 28 days. Okay, I'll go with it. Risks the loss of humanity. I was about to say, I would say 29 days or 29 and a half days, for the cycle of the moon. But then I remembered, oh wait, we're floating around Saturn now, so that doesn't matter anymore. You can get henchmen, other furries to join you. Druidic hierarchy. Druidic society has a strict and far-reaching structure. Have a whole video about this when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons on a Gatekeepers episode we did about a year or so ago. And this is one of those things that I really get angry when Dungeon Masters handwave in D&D. But let's see how it is handled here. Druidic society has a strict and far-reaching structure. The Druidic hierarchy in Hyperborea comprises 9 9th level druids, 7 10th level druids, 5 11th level druids, 3 12th level druids. When a druid okay, so I mean, at least it's better. It's 3 instead of just 1. The Druidic triumvirate. When a druid gains enough experience points to reach 9th level, he or she must seek out and challenge one who has already achieved that rank. Unless a vacancy exists, druids can die. A challenge is met at a sacred grove or henge during astrological event of significance. When members of the sect assemble. The druidic challenge can be one of matched weapons and or sorcery. In any case, rites are performed that bring to witness a deity such as Lunaqua, Thamagora, or Yunde, or agent thereof. The duel is not necessarily to the death, but loss of life is possible. A defeated but still living druid is reduced in experience to 1 experience point short of 9th level. Okay, that's actually kind of nice. Instead of bringing it all to 1 experience points above 8th level, it's bringing to 1 short of 9th level. And must abide 1 year of waiting before issuing new challenge or rematch. So, you know what? You may as well not even adventure for a year. Screw it. You only need 1 XP, right? It's not like the XP, you can do anything with it. But hey, whatever. A victorious challenger is promoted to 9th level, awarded appropriate abilities. This process is repeated in similar fashion. I will tell you this. Very few times, bordering on the never, have I seen a dungeon master impose this stuff, or sorry, referee in this style game, and it drives me crazy. It really does. It's one of those things that that is part and parcel to the class, and you really lose a lot of what the class means when you take it out. But the players don't want to deal with it. It sucks when they lose, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's too bad. All right. Again, this is important. I normally wouldn't do this, but this is important. I'm supposed to be doing something else right now. This is going long, and I'm just making sure everybody knows that this is taking priority. All right. Now, Lordship. Again, we got Lordship, which we've already read. Longevity. Now, this is a cool one. At 11th level, aging process slows. For every 13 years, very druidic of you, 1 Hyperborean cycle, the druid effectively ages 1 year. Cool. Starting pack and the what do you call it? Combat matrix, the fighting ability. Oh no, never mind. I was reading it wrong. So yeah, it starts with fighting ability 1. All right, monks. Now this is one that I hear in 3rd edition took a lot of change, but I got to be honest with, or took on a lot of change. But I've got to be honest with you. I don't know the 2nd edition one well enough. You probably can barely see the book back there in my 2nd edition books to be able to note any differences. So if you guys in chat know the differences between the 2nd and 3rd edition monk, go ahead and type them up if you want. It doesn't really matter because we're just presenting this book as it is. I'm not trying to do a comparison, but All right. So 12th level duel lost to a 9th level, just have an accident, create a vacancy. You could, yeah. Not sure that the monk or the what do you call it? The druidic nature of the character would be okay with that, but hey, you know. Whatever. The fighting monk is a priest and warrior, an anchorite, an ascetic dedicated to physical expertise and mental discipline. This is your Tibetan monk. A monk might be a cenobite or friar serving a monastic order, contemplative who abstains from speech in favor of meditation or prayer, a mendicant begging for alms in poverty-stricken streets, an initiate of a forbidden cult, or a mountaintop lama reincarnate. Again, thank you, your Tibetan monk. Monasteries typically are secluded, located atop mountain cliffs, within vast caves, or on remote islands. Others might exist in urban environs or their clandestine underworlds. A monk's monastery need not subscribe to a specific faith or deity. Rather, it might advocate an ethos of chaos, law, or neutrality. And it's one of the few, again, I don't like it falling under a cleric for that, but I get it. I mean, where else do you put monks? I see them more as fighters than clerics, but I get it. And when we get through the powers and so forth, look, you can call me wrong. I don't care. I'm just saying that's how I feel. Monks do not cast spells. However, they channel their ka, the Murians call it ki, to empower themselves in other ways. Many monks engage in lengthy walkabouts, expeditions through which they seek to expand their knowledge of the world and their own humanity. Strength, dexterity, and wisdom are important. Why would dexterity be? Because again, it's about sound body and mind. Prime attributes are dexterity and wisdom. Hit die is D8 still. Remember, they are priests. Armor allowed none. Shields allowed none. Notice, none. None. And favored weapons are pretty much anything except for, look at the theme. No great axes, no great hammers, no great maces. Basically, all these weapons right here are weapons you don't use with precision. Yes, you can use an actual axe with precision. A great axe is just meant for slashing and clubbing people. Well, what about a polearm? Polearm isn't used the same way. A great axe is just swing big mighty thing and try to cut it in half. A saving throw, transformation, avoidance. All right, let's we'll look at the chart first since it came out. Now the monk has a 500 XP bonus penalty, I guess you'd call it. It needs 500 more XP to level up, so its experience is slower. So chances are that it has something that goes with that. And well, I can see it right now on the chart. Fighting ability. The bad part is the fighting ability starts at 0. What does that mean? The other priest started at 1, right? Or a cleric started at 1. That means to hit armor class 0, they roll a 19. Well, the monk starts at a 0, which means hit armor class 0, he has to roll a 20. Well, if this is supposed to be some sort of martial arts, why would it be harder? Well, we'll get into that. The good news is, though, is it goes up 1 per level like the fighter. Now, the fighter ends at 12. This fighting monk will always be 1 level lower than the fighter, but it is going to equal the priest here and then start passing the priest or the other clerics. So ultimately, and think of it like that investment concept, right? That we talked about with the wizard. Same thing. Spend a couple levels of investment here, and now you've got a character that is fighting better than every other priest, just a tick under 5%, technically speaking, under the fighter. Gets an AC bonus, which we'll look at in these abilities here below, and empty hand damage bonus. So we'll check that out. And it gets these cool class abilities. Remember, say this for the people who play new games and not old games. Oh, I like feats of 3rd edition and 5th edition. These things, these class abilities are feats. They're just more prescribed, less optional and more prescribed. Think of them as feats if you want, as talents from other games, but they're class abilities. Look what this guy gets. Deflect a fired arrow, bolt, or bullet. Yes, you read that right. Sling bullet. Likewise, a hurled axe, boomerang, dagger, dart, javelin, spear, or like weapon. Even spells such as flaming missile, magic ice dart, magic missile, and acid arrow can be blocked. Magic missile, which normally can't be stopped by anything, you could that out of the way. Siege missiles, giant hurled boulders, and like do not apply. Okay, you are not going to a big ass boulder coming at. To repel a missile, the monk must make an avoidance saving throw. So, what are the saving throws? Well, let's look up here. Saving throws are 16, 16, 15, 15, 14. Okay, it's standard saving throws, right? Does avoidance, do we get, yep, avoidance is +2. So, the 16 is really a 14 for avoidance. So, first level, you have a 30% chance. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 35% chance. 35, yeah, it's not more than 50. Your first level, shut up. A 35% chance of blocking an arrow that is shot at you. The monk must drop anything held to use his ability, which can be attempted as many times per round as the monk has levels of experience. At 6th level, okay, that'll be a 12, right? Because you get the +2. And what is that percentage-wise? 40? Is that what it is? Yeah, because this would be 35, 35, 40, 40, 45. So 45% chance. And you can do it 6 times per round. So yeah, more than 50% of them are still going to come in and get you. But you know what? If you can block 50% of them, all right. Cool. All right, cellular adjustment. Once per day, supernaturally alter cells to heal physical damage equal to hit points per level of experience. Okay. Once per day, you can heal yourself like a paladin's lay on hands. Actually, kind of more like the Fell Paladin's sapping hands or whatever it's called. But hey. Alternatively, the monk may confer this healing onto an injured ally. Oh, well, look at that. Also, once per week, the monk can purge him or herself or another of disease or poison. Okay, so this is dang near a paladin. Per the spells, cure disease, neutralize poison, though not lycanthropy. So, this is the paladin ability. Controlled fall. To retard descent of precipitous falls. For every level of experience, the monk can fall 10 feet and sustain no damage. Again, a 6th level monk falls 60 feet and just walks away. For falls beyond the monk's limit, normal rules are enforced, starting at the point which the control fall no longer applies. So a 5th level monk plummets down a 90-foot pit, thus sustains 46 hit points of damage. Unfortunately, we won't get to that until I start talking about adventuring, which will be a couple weeks from now. But I'm sure that's a lot less than what was normally going to be, because what a 5th level monk can do 50 feet. So this is probably 1d6 per 10 feet. That's my guess, based on just kind of putting 2 and 2 together. So instead of being 9d6 of damage, it's 5d6 of damage, 4d6. I can't subtract apparently, but we'll worry about that later. Point is, you can fall. Defensive ability to avoid and deflect blows and damage through physical, mental, and spiritual kaki mastery. The monk gains AC bonus that increases as levels of experience are gained. Remember, the monk does not wear armor. So the monk has to be careful of being hit. But the monk gets this AC bonus over here. This is also why you probably want a pretty high dexterity. Yeah, it's only caps out at +6, which I don't even think is as good as plate mail. But hey, you're wearing no armor. Got you going on with that furry stuff. Find secret door and base 3 and 6 chance. That's 50% chance to find a secret door. Empty hand, master of the unarmed attack. Hand, foot, knee, elbow, etc. The monk enjoys the following benefits when fighting without a weapon. That's right, I translated some French for you. 2 attacks every round. Doesn't say this starts at level 5, level 10, whatever. or you have to have weapon mastery to do this. No, you start out of the gate 2 attacks every round, although it does require 2 free hands. Weapon-like damage. The monk may use cestus, leather thongs wrapped around the hands and weighted with iron or lead for +1 damage bonus. By the way, empty hand damage is 1d4 plus strength, right? Perfection of body and mind. And you add another +1 to that. Let's say you have a +1 to your strength and now +1 to the cestus. That's 1d4 plus 2. You're doing just 3 to 6 damage. It's not bad. That's not bad at all. On a natural 20, a stunning blow can be delivered. A small or medium creature must make a transformation saving throw or be stunned for 2d7 rounds. Or, wow, did I say 2d7? I was reading the 7 over here. 2d4 rounds. At 7th level, large creatures can be stunned, but they're afforded a +4 bonus to save. Does not affect undead, constructs, oozes, yada yada. Things that can't be affected. At 5th level, the empty hand is equivalent to a magical weapon and gains a +1 hit bonus. At 12, you get Quivering Palm, the famous Quivering Palm, infamous to some. If hit, the victim must make a death saving throw or die instantly. Otherwise, normal damage applies. All right. Extraordinary, so +8% to feats of dexterity. Run to move swiftly as a tiger. If unarmored, achieve a movement rate of 50. At 7th level, 60. That's crazy. This is why it's 2,500 XP. Oh, we're not done yet. Looks like we have another page of stuff. Superior willpower. +2 bonus to saving throws versus any sorcery that would influence mind, including illusions, charms, etc. Okay. And it's cumulative willpower. 4, 8, and 12. Become skilled with a new weapon that is not included in the favors weapons list. So now you can learn your giant weapons. Okay. Now you can get your giant weapons. If you were mad about it before that you couldn't have your Final Fantasy sword, now you can have your Final Fantasy sword. At 5th level, you can enter deep trance, which monks can feign death. Oh, that's what cataleptic state is. Oh, okay. Okay, that isn't what I thought it was going to be, but now we know. You're like, what are you talking about? Well, when we talked about necromancers back in the previous video. Got it. Endless henchman, we know what that is. Lordship, longevity. Wait, longevity? At 11th level, aging process slows. This isn't a druid, this is a monk. You have become a master of even your own body. For every 13 years, 1 cycle, the monk effectively ages 1 year. But wait, there's more! Progressive thief abilities. Monks practice a few thievish skills. The following thief abilities progress as the monk advances in levels. All right. So you get climb to ascend or descend sheer cliffs or walls without the need of climbing gear as a thief of equal level. If vertical, the surface must be rough or cracked. You're not climbing up ice. Okay. But if there's some cracks in there, you can do it. At least 1 check must be made per 100 feet of climbing. Failure indicates climber slipped and fallen at about the midway point. So for every 100 feet, so it'd be at 50, 150, 250, so forth. Discern noise. To hearken at a door and detect the faintest of noises on the other side. Perceive the distant footfalls of wandering monster and distinguish a single voice in a crowd as a thief of equal level. 6 rounds, 1 minute of concentrated listening are required. Hide to vanish into shadows, camouflage oneself. Ninja. Or flatten one's body to a seemingly impossible degree, all whilst remaining still as a statue. This ability is performed as a thief of equal level. Only the slightest movement is permissible. Hiding is impossible in direct sunlight or if the monk is observed. Duh. Move silently. To move with preternatural quiet, even across squeaky floorboards. Dry leaves. This is what's at the beginning of the Kung Fu show. If you can walk across the white rice paper without ripping it or whatever. It's been like many, many, many years since I saw that. But yeah. Dry leaves, loose debris, and the like. As a thief of equal level, this skill is executed half the monk's normal movement rate. That's fine. And again, we have the combat mix. Notice that again, it starts at initial fighting ability 0, but it goes up 1 per level instead of 2 every 3 levels like the rest of the priests do. Now we have the priest. Oof. Yep. We're at 4 hours. Oh, I'll be getting to 5 hours, no problem. Yes, this is going to be a long stream. Look, we're doing a deep dive. I've got to pop into it. So I appreciate you guys all hanging around. Those who watch it later, hey, Appreciate you too. Each one of these videos is going to, it's going to deep dive into this. We're going to talk about each and every one of these because, well, one, I want to present it to you. And two, to be fair, I haven't played any of these for 3rd edition. So I can't just sit here and say, oh, this is what the priest does. I have to do it through the read through. But I know you're not complaining. I'm just that out there. Priest. The priest is an ecclesiastical sorcerer of limited martial skill, but superior mystical capability. All right. Govern themselves in raiment from simple to elaborate as befits the belief system. Dwell wherever mankind practices faith, city-state, where otherworldly beings such as Zakwatha is worshipped. And if I'm saying the names wrong, I don't care. A simple village where Helios is revered. A fortified manor house where goddess of the hunt, Yunde, is venerated. Or perhaps underworld guild of thieves who tithe to the god of trickery and luck, Rel. Some priests may dedicate their lives to banishment of undead and demons. Others may represent a holy order of mystery, whose mission is scarcely understood. I bet you these guys get more spells, but they have the fighting ability of wizards, magicians. I bet you. I might be wrong. We'll find out. All right. Spiritual and political advisors, knights, lords. All right. Wisdom, charisma 9. That makes sense because you're trying to, you need to be wise to provide the advice, but you also want to tend to the flock. And you need both wisdom and charisma to get 10% bonus. D4. Oh, there we go. We're starting it off. Hit dice D4. Wizardly. We're talking, just like the magicians. Alignment any. Armor allowed none. Shields allowed none. Favorite weapons as the magician. Plus a whip. So save versus death and sorcery and starting money. All right. Scroll use. We've already talked about scroll use. Scroll writing. And so let me just make sure there's nothing in here that pops out at me that shows that they get a bonus because they are... Nope. Oh. Oh, it looks like they get more spell. Okay, we'll look at that in a moment. Turn undead. Yeah, let's look at what they get over here. All right, fighting ability is as the... yep, here we go. You may as well consider these weirdos to be magicians. They do not fight. But look, they get 2 first-level spells to start. Remember before it was like 4, 4, 3, whatever? Well, now it's 6, 6, 5, 4. So this is your spellcaster. This is the one who's going to... the way I defined it in Dungeons and Dragons are clerics go out and want to bash things. Priests are the ones that stay home and tend to the flock. Well, this is the character that tends to the flock. Unfortunately, you happen to be in Hyperborea where that sometimes means that you're going to be traveling out there and still have to bash some undead. Turning ability, 1 through 12, that's good. Casting ability 1 through 12, that's good. All right. So it's this fighting ability that's low, but look at all these extra spells you get. And remember, this is also bumped up by your wisdom bonus. And experience is only 2,000. So it's not like the 2,500 like the monk. So, that takes into account the fighting ability, especially since you can't wear armor or anything. You are a sitting duck. You're basically a wizard. Or I keep saying wizard, but in this game that means something different. You're basically a magician. Okay, that casts cleric spells. That's the way you should think. Oh, and can turn undead. That's the way you should think yourself. Scrolls are the same. Sorcery is the same. Oh, we already said that. Turn undead. Like clerics, priests can exert control over undead. Okay, I don't see any bonuses there, so let's move on. New weapon skill 4th, 8th, and 12th, like the rest. Endless henchman. Demon rack. What is this? At 9th level. Once per week, conduct a powerful ritual that dismisses or beckons a demon or other netherworldly being. This ability functions as the dismissal spell, except it applies only to demons and their ilk. Wow. The dismissing one is powerful, but the beckon one is nuts. Nuts. Lordship, specialized faith. Okay. Priests who elect to embrace the specialized... I bet you this is the polytheistic versus the monotheistic. Who embrace a specialized faith develops supplementary abilities. Each ability is particular to and granted by the deity that the priest exclusively venerates, as noted in the table below. The table below. A breach of faith or alignment may result in the loss of these abilities as best adjudicated by the referee. Priests of specialized faith often are regarded as zealots. Even practitioners of similar beliefs may judge them as eccentrics. Okay, let's see. Apollo. We're not going to read through all these. We're going to read through a couple. We got Apollo, nice Greek god there, right? You can be good or evil. Got to be lawful, though. Priest ability is at first level, proficient with all bows. Okay, all long bows requiring 9 straight. Okay. All arrows launched in sunlight ignite as flame arrows. So once you're at 9th level, if you fire that bow during the day, 9th level. I'm sorry, flame arrow. Let's go to a god. Kraken, that sounds cool. Chaotic. Once per day, you can cast mirror image, but only one image. That's lame. Once per day, you can conjure 12 mob squib-like appendages that act as black tentacles. Okay, that's a bit creepier and okay. You can read Cthulhu on your own. I'm going to scroll down. Okay, I don't know what a Tlak Naka is, but we're going to go with it. Tlak Naka is a neutral god. Once per day, can cast Spider Climb. That's pretty cool. Manufacture poison as an assassin. All right, well, we know what you're and let's whatever the last one is. Yug is the last one. Yug is the last one. Once per day, can cast darkness. And at 9th level, once per day, can conjure a quasi-real Shogoth as a spawn shadow monster. Wow! And there's a starting pack. I think we have 2 more still. Is it 2 more? Runegraver and Shaman, right? Yeah, we have Runegraver and Shaman. So here we go. Runegraver. Oof. Runegraver is a mystic warrior who carves sorceress runes on bone, metal, stone, and wood. Very dwarven-like for your D&D. Very Viking-like for your Hyperborea. Graving is a heritable craft taught to precocious young warrior. Now, I thought at first that was precious. No, that's precocious young warriors. Hyperborea the craft and accompanying rune poems were originally a gift from the deity Uller, bestowed upon a selection of the first Vikings to cross the North Wind, and has been passed down ever since. In the Common Era, rune graving no longer is exclusive to Vikings, though most practitioners still are of Nordic descent. Notwithstanding, all pay homage to Uller and Ymir, regardless of ancestry. All right. Let's see what they do. Strength of 9, wisdom of 12. Ooh, we got a bump in that wisdom there. Strength and wisdom both need to be 16 plus. D8, so we're back to our priest progression. Alignment is chaotic. Interesting. That might just be because of the Uller thing. I don't know. It's weird that a runegraver would kind of try to be outside society or individualistic, but that could just be my not understanding. Armor, light and medium. Okay, so back to the priestly stuff. Shields loud, favored weapons, any. Transformation sorcery, get the +2. Extraordinary feats of strength. Okay, that makes sense for a runegraver, right? Now, what is grave runes? Runegravers grave runes on specific materials that are carved, smoothed, and shaped by the runegraver. Each rune emulates a specific spell with no other material components required. The number and levels of rune spells cast per day are charted above. Table 49. Did I miss it? That can't be above. Yeah, okay. That's a typo. Probably in like the original draft or something it was above. Runes are enchanted when the runegraver cuts his or her palm, no damage at this time, drips blood on the rune, and recites the appropriate poem. Much like spells memorized from books, when a rune spell is cast, the rune and its medium remain, but the sorcery is drained until the process is started anew. Okay. Runes are invoked much like a spell, except each invocation costs the runegraver a sacrifice of 1 hit point. Oh, this is like a point of strain out of Earthdawn. Okay. I've said Earthdawn a lot today. Paying carousing up the runegraver's arm. So casting a level 3 rune spell entails a loss of 3 hit points. And remember, they only get the D8 just like normal clerics. It's not like they get fighter. Which can be recovered in the usual manner. Should the runegraver drop below 1 hit point from evoking a rune, unconscious is staved off for 1 turn, 10 minutes. Pending an extraordinary feat of constitution. Oh, okay. If you make an extraordinary feat of constitution. Got it. Each of the 16 runes may be invoked, but once per day. So that means if you're going to do this, you're going to have to do different runes. The rune spells they mimic are as follows. Giant. Okay. So at level 1, get Giant, Man, and Riding. So you can do Enlargement, Command, and Mount. Constraint, Shower, and Wealth. Those are the runes, but it translates to Hold Person, Black Cloud, Fool's Gold. And I'm not going to read the rest of these. So. And with 6th level spells being the max, you get Reincarnation from Birch. All right, so let's look at this. Well, I hope these guys get a bunch more abilities than the than the monks because that's 500 more experience points than the monks. Saving throws are normal. Fighting ability is on par with the fighters. Casting ability is on par with all the casters. Runes per day is lower than the number of spells than what a normal priest or wizard can cast per day, but they get that 1, 2, 3 pretty quickly. So, interesting. Although I think the progression is a touch slower once you get to these higher levels. I might be wrong about that. Okay, Runegraver begins with a single rune. A sacred mystery revealed by a master. It is either selected or randomly determined upon character creation. Consult your referee. Runegravers unlock the secret of a new rune or runes at each level gain at the following schedule. And there you go. It's this schedule. New runes are acquired via spiritual revelation, the uncloaking of runic lore, or deific favor from Uller. Each new rune is learned automatically with no need of a qualification roll. Runegravers do not learn new runes outside of level gains, but by 12th level, all 16 runes have been mastered. And here are the runes. And here are the poems. I'm guessing that asterisk for the poem means it's an example and not what you have to say, but we'll find out in a moment as we scroll down. Translation. Oh, nope. Actually, it's legit. Never mind. That is your poem. All right. Ale horn. An aurochs or other bovine drinking horn, painstakingly etched in Nordic design. Once per day, if the horn is filled with 12 ounces of fresh water, the Runegraver can turn the water to enchanted ale that restores 2 hit points per caster ability. That's awesome. I just created a healing potion out of water that tastes like booze. That's a win-win-win. That's a triple win. Trifecta. Triple word score, baby. The ale can be shared, but once uncapped, the entire contents must be imbibed within 6 rounds. Once per week, 3 drops of honey added to the water. The water-filled drinking horn produces a magical mead that can cure disease. Again, we now have the paladin. Was it the paladin and monk abilities? Was it monk that could do that? I forget. Yeah, I think it was. So it's another class that can basically lay on hands. Casting of lots. At 5th level, the Runegraver can gather 16 fresh twigs. The twigs must be smooth and engraved, each incised with one of the 16 runes listed earlier. They're then placed in a leather pouch filled with powdered bone. To cast lots, the Runegraver must engage, this is like yarrow sticks from the I Ching, must engage in a 1-turn ritual chanting, shaking the pouch, finally dumping the twigs from the pouch. The Runegraver then articulates a question, selects 3 bone dust covered twigs, wipes them clean, and interprets their meaning. Casting of lots is otherwise equivalent to the augury spell, so that's just how it would play out. It can be performed once per day. I like the idea that this gives some really good role-playing opportunities. You know, for the people like, oh, I'm just whatever augury says, that's what this does. No, role-play it out. Come on, guys. You got a turn. You've got a turn. That's 10 minutes. It doesn't have to take that long, but it gives you time to role-play it out. I think you should. There's a typical henchman, a nithing pole. At 7th level, a Runegraver can select a strong branch and carve it with all manners of signs, sigils, and execrations in the Old Norse language, amongst them the proper name of an enemy. The nithing pole must be staked into the ground and mounted with the head or skull of a goat, horse, sheep, or like animal. It must face in the direction of the named target's abode, within a quarter mile. Oh, wow, you got to be kind of close for this. The effect is equivalent to a bestow curse spell. I mean, when you're talking, out in open, I wouldn't necessarily call it open. I mean, we're not talking like the jungle here where a quarter mile is forever. Prairies and savannas and, the like that you find, steppes. Quarter mile is actually pretty close. Except the duration is permanent until the nithing pole is located and nullified with a remove curse spell or a dispel magic spell. Physically destroying the pole will not lift the curse. And you can make 1 a month. Berserker Horde. Oh, okay, come on now. At 9th level, carve a rune of the Berserker. Venture into the savage wilderness and then stab one's palm with a knife. I like it. Stab one's like, "Grr," for D4 hit points damage, whilst howling like a beast. The rune graver smears the fresh blood on the rune. I thought I was going to say himself, attracting 50 wild berserkers of an alignment that roughly corresponds to that of the rune graver. These feral warriors will arrive over the course of 1d4 days. They will follow the rune graver lord until death. So this is how the person gets henchmen. I get it now. Or followers, whatever. Follow the rune graver lord until death, so long as their lives compromise violence, bloodshed, drink, and revelry. Providing food and shelter for the horde is the responsibility of the rune graver, unless a referee permits otherwise. A berserker horde can be summoned, but once every 5 years. Furthermore, introducing these wild people to civilization can prove disastrous. You think? Actually, here's lordship right here, so that's got to be the henchman. That's got to be the henchman. Nope, there's henchman right there. Screw it. I don't think you get an extra 50 weirdos that just want to bash stuff in. All right. And the last one, the shaman. Until we get to the thieves. The shaman or witch doctor commands the thaumaturgical sorcery commands the thaumaturgical sorcery of a magician and the ecclesiastical sorcery of a priest. Oh, so this is a mage priest? Mage cleric mage? It's not furry. No, it didn't say furry. Hold on. No, it just said wild berserkers. Wild berserkers that are nutballs. Charlotte Williams. So this class just summons a furry con to follow him around. All right, where is that here? With the ecclesiastical sorcery of a priest, a tribal personages who communicates with transcendent dimensions where dwell astral, animistic, elemental, and otherworldly beings. Through these connections, the shaman can function as a spiritual sorcerer, healing, divining, and enchanting, as well as communicating with the dead. Shamans are not schooled as other sorcerers are. Rather, they answer irrefutable callings from the spirit world. Typically, this occurs at or before puberty. Shamans often assume advisory roles. Squirrel Hornet. It goes back to me covering After the Bomb from Palladium Books. I like anthropomorphic animals. So, everybody likes to do the furry thing. It's all good, though. It's all in good fun. And even if it's not, I'm taking good fun. Shamans often assume advisory roles to tribal leaders. Sometimes they themselves function as both political and religious leaders. For many barbaric tribes and savage cultures, the shaman serves as the conduit between the temporal and spiritual worlds. And yet, it's not unusual for a shaman to wander the length and breadth of Hyperborea seeking knowledge, wisdom, and adventure. Intelligence 9, wisdom 12. We got to bump up in that wisdom there, so a little harder to become one. You need intelligence and wisdom both at 16 plus to get the XP bonus, and it's only a D6 hit points, not a D8 like the rest of the priests. You can be chaotic good, neutral, chaotic evil, probably because you're wandering and you're really not bound to a hierarchy. Armor allowed light, shields allowed none. Weapons, you see the list here: axe, blowgun, bola, boomerang, things that make sense for shaman. Death and sorcery are where you get your +2 modifiers. 2,500, same as the monk. Yeah, TMNT and Other Strangeness is where I got my Palladium start, and it's still one of my favorite games. Or After the Bomb, the current version, is one of my favorite games to this day. I'm with you on that one. So, saving throws. Now, fighting ability starts at 0, stays at 0, and then goes up like a priest. So it's actually behind the priest, because if you notice, the priest ends at 8. This one ends at 7. Turning ability also doesn't start until level 3. Then only goes up to 10. Now, it's still pretty good. Don't get me wrong. It's better than Paladin, right? Casting ability, on the other hand, well, that's normal. It starts at 1 and goes to 12. So everything seems like a detriment. It's a lower lower experience points, lower hit points, and goes up in fighting, turning ability slower. So what is it they get? Well, this is what they get. They get to cast Cleric and Druid spells, and Cleric Druid spells and Magician Necromancer spells. And we'll get to that in a moment. So they get more choices in spells. On the the ecumenical side and on the sorceress, or what do they call it in this game? The ecclesiastic, divine, whatever, and the thaumaturgic. Class ability is draw poison. Well, we already read this in the fighter, but we didn't read this here in the cleric, so I have to read it again. To draw and this is the Crocodile Dundee. To draw and spit poison from a snake bite or another venomous wound, such as scorpion sting or spider bite. The attempt must be made within 2 rounds of the affliction for a 3 in 6 chance of success, 4 rounds for a 2 in 6 chance of success, and 6 rounds for a 1 in 6 chance of success. Success may revive one who has expired. Yes, you died of poison. I can suck it out of you. You can come back to life. So long as a trauma survival check is made. Somebody's going to clip that. That's fine. You can clip what I said. The deceased poison victim is restored to 0 hit points, albeit at a price, a permanent loss of 1 constitution point. I mean, come on, you died. As with the Berserker, I think it is, or no, the Barbarian, victims of envenomed blades or ingested poison are beyond the shaman's aid. Harvest venom. You can extract. Now, this gets both of them. Remember before, I think it was in the fighter stuff, whatever. You had the one that could suck the venom, and then you had the one that could get venom sacs and procure the venom from the creature, from the snakes, from the spiders, and so forth. Well, this one can do both. To extract venom sacs from snakes, spiders, giant insects, and the like, should the opportunity present and the appropriate containers be available. The shaman learns to dissect venomous creatures in the field. This skill is performed at a base 9 in 12 chance, 9 or less on a d12. If a 12 is rolled, a mishap occurs, and the shaman is exposed, eyes no skin, to the poisonous fluid. Make your saving. Magic item use. Can utilize magic items normally restricted to clerics and magicians. Can use both. So that's pretty powerful, actually. Medicine man. To bind wounds, set sprains or broken bones, and concoct cures and antidotes for diseases and natural poisons, so long as the shaman has access to the herbs, roots, and ritualistic devices. A drum, a rattle, out of picture, get the maracas going, right? That are integral to shamanism. Gathering ingredients can be a time-consuming process depending on circumstances. The process works as follows. Thank you. But I wanted the caffeine. Treat 1 person per day, which includes the shaman, per level of experience. So, first level shaman can only, heal himself, or you can't do both. A 3rd level shaman can do 3 people per day, so himself and others. The process takes 1 turn to complete per person. Treatment involves the use of herbs, roots, and ritualistic dancing percussion. Yes, we're good. Again, a good role-playing opportunity. You don't have to be stupid about it. You can do it with respect. Recipients, or don't, up to you, I don't care. Recipients immediately regain 1d4 hit points and are stabilized if unconscious. That's pretty damn cool. Recipients can receive treatment only once per day. Yeah, but that's fine. Once per day and you're stabilized, rest for a little bit, get you the next day. Hey. Treating poison disease. When treating a natural plant or animal poison or disease, the shaman has an 8 in 12 chance to devise an antidote if familiar with the affliction. If unfamiliar, the success is reduced to 4 in 12. But that's on the spot. That's a powerful ability. In either case, the chance in 12 is increased by 1 if the shaman has a 16 or plus or higher wisdom. The shaman may attempt to treat a poison or disease, but once per week. I mean, that's normal. The process takes 1 turn to complete and is predicated on the intervention of an ancestral spirit. Read magic, the ability to decipher unintelligible. Okay, we know. Do we from the priests? Maybe. Scroll use, cleric or druid spell. And magician or necromancer. So it looks like you have to pick cleric or druid, magician or necromancer. If you want more, you go with cleric and magician. If you want specific, thematic, you go druid, necromancer. And if I'm wrong, if it is all 4, my apologies, but it looks like a pick. Scribing scrolls, same thing. Sorcery, same thing. Drawn from. Okay, so let's see if it hears. During character creation, player must decide which 2 schools of magic the shaman casts. Okay, this is the 2nd instance of naughty pronoun, but only the 2nd one in the entire thing we've read so far. One choice is between cleric and druid spells. The other choice between magician and necromancer. It says right there. You got to pick. So now we have that answer. And we saw the spell list above. Totem. The sacred symbol of kinship that a clan, tribe, family shares with an animal, plant, or other natural object. Oftentimes, the clan is named after the totem. Clan of the Bull, Frog Tribe. Totemic emblems are carved from stone, ivory, or other medium. Once per week, the shaman may beseech the totem spirit for wisdom and guidance as per the contact otherworldly being spell, requiring half the monetary sacrifice. A shaman might view a totem as a brother, guardian, or protector. Dualism is a distinct possibility, meaning it's possible the totem is speaking and acting, not the shaman. The totem might be transferred from one person to another through elaborate ceremony, inheritance, or expropriation. I don't know why Ed Shelson got that Stargate episode stuck in my head with the key and Zales. If you guys know what I'm talking about. Turn undead. At third level, can exert control over the undead and some demonic beings. We've already talked about turn dead, but you get it at third level there. And it's first level ability at third level. New weapons at 4th, 8th, and 12th, like everybody else. Enlist henchmen, lordship, and longevity, as we've seen multiple times before. There we go. Starting pack. And I think we are done. Yes, we now get to go to the thiefly stuff. I have some people who are very angry with me with as long as the stream is going. So